I'm Helier, and this is my fourth talk on the series on the Platonic tradition. And today I want to say a little bit more about what Plato had to say. In particular, I want to talk about the two most famous things in Plato, the Allegory of the cave and the metaphor of the divided line. They both occur in Plato's most famous book, The Republic. The Allegory of the cave is a story that Plato invented where a number of people are chained against a wall in a cave, and facing them is another wall which is like a screen that shadows fall on. Behind the wall, slaves are walking backwards and forwards carrying things on their heads. And behind the slaves is fire, so the fire throws shadows on the wall, and the Plato's prisoners in the cave just see these shadows of things. They don't see the slaves behind the wall because the wall is hiding them. Just see shadows of objects moving backwards and forwards on the wall. Plato's story is that if a slave could break free of his chains and go walk around the wall and see the slaves, he would be seeing the objects on their heads as they are, instead of just as shadows. And furthermore, if he could find his way out of the cave, he would see objects by the light of the sun, and this corresponds to Plato's idea of the knowledge of the forms. Objects seen by the sun would be knowledge of the forms. And Plato added that if the prisoner went back into the cave to tell the other prisoners of his experiences, they would just laugh at him. He wouldn't believe him, they would believe he was mad. Of course, if Plato was writing today, he wouldn't be using such a simple allegory. He would probably talk of people in the cinema watching movies, or maybe more appropriately of couch potatoes sitting on a couch watching soap operas all day on television. And the point being that they would be watching images of the empirical world rather than the empirical world itself. And this distinction appears again in the allegory of the divided line. In the metaphor of the divided line, Plato said, imagine a line, you draw it as a vertical line, and it's divided in a certain ratio, an upper part and a lower part. And the upper part is divided in the same ratio, and the lower part is divided in the same ratio. I'll explain in a moment what he meant by this ratio. And he labelled the four parts of the divided line at the bottom, images, and these are images of the empirical world. He taught them reflections in water or shadows. The second part up, going up the divided line, is the empirical world, which produces these images. Above that is the third portion of the divided line, which is mathematics, and at the top is the noumenal world, what I've been calling the noumenal world, but for Plato was the world of forms. His point about the same ratio is that in the bottom portion of the line, the empirical world and images of the empirical world, he's got this notion of what is below the empirical world is images of it. And if you go to the other portion of the divided line, what is below the world of forms is mathematics. So mathematics are images of the world of forms, of the noumenal world, just as reflections and shadows are images of the empirical world. And not only that, but the empirical world and its images are itself an image of the noumenal world and its image of mathematics. So there are three kinds of world and image. There's the noumenal world and its image mathematics, there's the empirical world and its images, reflections and shadows, and the empirical world and its images is an image of the noumenal world and its images. It's worth mentioning at this point that mathematics is the most rational thing we know, and for Plato, it's images of the noumenal. The noumenal, therefore, is rational, very rational. In fact, mathematics is the most rational thing we know. We don't know anything more rational than mathematics. And if knowledge of forms is above mathematics, mathematics is just an image of it, then we have to say that in today's language, the knowledge of the forms, which for Plato was wisdom, wisdom is suprarational. It's above the rational. However, that's something I want to talk about in another talk. But what I want to say now is that in today's language, our best description of the noumenal world is mathematical theoretical science, particularly theoretical physics. And theoretical science both explains empirical phenomena by describing their noumenal causes, and it predicts empirical novelty. We first proposed the noumenal causes in the first talk because we wanted to know what explanation was, and we explained prediction of novelty in the third talk, and its importance in showing that knowledge of the noumenal is best described by explanation. The more successful an explanation, more likely it is to describe the noumenal, and the most important criterion of the success of an explanation is theoretical prediction of empirical novelty. So there we have a connection between modern science and Plato's metaphor of the divided line. A connection between the world of the forms, which we're calling the noumenal world, and modern theoretical physics. That's all for now. Goodbye.